What's up, everyone? So this is one I am just going live on because this week was an incredibly busy week. I had in-person consultations, phone consultations, virtual consultations, and I run a dog school here. So clients come pick up their dogs and inevitably they have questions. My dog did this or did that yesterday, or my dog always does this. Can you help with that? And oftentimes it's in passing, so we can't really get into depth. But that's why I started this channel for you guys, for my clients, for my audience, to maybe go in more depth into these everyday topics that I have with my clients and everyday discussions I have with my clients. So, by the way, Doggy Stoic, we moved the podcast to a separate channel. Just to keep things clean and organized. So these will be short videos and unedited training clips, and the podcast will be on Doggy Stoic on YouTube, Doggie. So this one today is about a very simple topic, but it's probably the hardest thing for clients to do, and that's give their dogs a chance. What I mean by that is when we think about the topic of alignment, right? Like, what is a healthy relationship? We hear the word relationship time and time again in regards to dog training. And I often think the most misbehaved dogs are the ones that are misaligned with their owner. Fundamentally, we all have needs. And humans, we have the same basic needs, but then we might have different needs of self-actualization, how we want to kind of live in this world, what we want to pursue, whether that's pursuing career, pursuing relationships, pursuing health, purpose, family, etc. Right? We usually have a combination and then a little bit of a hierarchy. Dogs also have purpose, needs, and desires. And if those things aren't met, you're going to see dogs act out. So when I think of aligning with a dog, I think of that as the bare minimum first day, first phase of my program. Any dog that comes here, it's my job to show that dog that I have its best interest in mind. I have its best interest in mind. Think about that. How do you explain that to a dog who doesn't speak your language? Many of you dog owners and many of you dog trainers don't even show the dogs that come into your program that I have your best interest in mind. I want you to succeed. We get so quick to slap that leash on and ask the dog to do things. Why should that dog do things? Who are you to that dog? Even the owner, who are you to that dog? Yeah, you feed it, you let it piss and poop outside, but what have you done to show that dog that you have its best interest in mind? That goes from a 5 pound Chihuahua Yorkie, those little mini doodles, to big 120 pound dogs. They all have very similar needs. So when I went to a Larry, Jay, and Joel seminar, Jay talked about this. What do all dogs do? And you guys know this if you think about it. They need to walk in nature. They need to track scents and use whatever amount of prey drive they have. Some have a ton, some have very little. But they have a little bit of prey drive. There's some. Every dog has that. They need to move, track, smell, and use their prey drive. If those things aren't met for a dog, how can that dog possibly feel like you have its best interest in mind? How can you possibly say that you're aligned with that dog if you don't even understand its basic needs? And what I'm seeing is so many dog owners go to the store, go to a breeder, they pick dogs out based on how they're looking, what kind of, personality the dog might have based on the breed specific. But at the end of the day, they don't take into consideration what can I do to make that dog from day one feel like it's a part of my family and I have its best interest in mind. And here's my recommendation to you guys. Once, twice, 3 times a week, get a non-slip out collar. If your dog's a heavy puller, get a prong collar. Get a retractable leash. I used to do this on a long line, but I understand the challenges that people have on long line. Actually, I understand the challenges people have with retractable leads. But the point is, give your dog an opportunity to show you who it is. Go into nature with that dog. Let that dog smell. Give that dog space. Let that dog recall to you voluntarily without you calling. Because it says, hey, we've done this the last 2 weeks together. This is super fun. Instead, take them out on a short leash. Let them blow up at a few dogs in the neighborhood. Piss and poop over here and then take them back home. And then, go home and tell your significant other, hey, our dog's reactive. We should probably hire a trainer. But that was like an hour walk. Can't walk them separately, right? That would take like 3 hours. That was like an hour walk around the neighborhood. Who was that walk even for? Your dogs are telling you they're bored. They're telling you they want freedom. You're keeping them by your side. It's a walk for you. It's a walk for you. This is 80% of the problem. You go to poor countries, third world countries, Indonesia, India, Mexico, on and on. Dogs are in the street. They have freedom. They have no leashes. How is there not chaos? Because these dogs, they can learn to self-police themselves. Or at the very least, they need to be given the opportunity to have choices. And you can give them feedback for those choices. But if from day one you keep them by your side and it's this tug of war match, you're going to have problems for life. And I'll tell you, most of the clients that come here, I would probably say almost every client that comes here has their dog on a short leash for the entirety of the dog's life. The only time that dog gets off leash is in the backyard or in the dog park. Think about how crazy that is. Think about how crazy that is. They have long lines on Amazon for like $6. You get a 30-foot leash. Can you really, where you live, unless you're in New York City, can you not find grassy areas to go with your dog where they're more than 2 yards away? It's crazy. I can't believe this has become an epidemic. And I'll tell you one more thing. The next comment typically I see is, my dog is a Velcro dog. Without like the self-awareness to think, I conditioned this dog to be a Velcro dog. Everything I've done has been to keep this dog by my side in the entirety of its life. So one of two things happen. That dog becomes protective reactive, or that dog becomes fearful reactive. Because its entire confidence, its entire agency, its entire existence has been by being by your side. So if anything even threatens it or gives off the perception of a threat, that dog is going to tweak out. You see this sometimes when I start working obedience with the clients. They'll tell the dog to down or sit, and they'll just stand behind that dog with the leash. Who needs a dog to down or stay or place when you're watching them? If I'm watching you, we could just hang out. I need you to learn to do those things when I'm not present. And I need your emotional system to be self-regulating enough to know it's not a big deal. You can be away from me and be a well-behaved dog. You don't need to be by my side to be a well-behaved dog. I went live and recorded this for you guys because it's top of mind, and I want you to begin to avoid some of the mistakes that people pay me thousands of dollars to fix. Because this week, I have a Rottweiler that I've been posting on YouTube so you guys can see literally the entire training session. I have a client that brought a bully and a Frenchie here to start the week. The bully's dominant, the Frenchie is fearful, but both are reactive. And she's proud, she walks those dogs 2 to 3 hours a day, 2 on one side, and they have a third dog on the other side. And all we did was we went for a retractable leash walk individually with every dog. Past dogs, those dogs had no issues. Zero. Those are good dogs. Even the little fearful Frenchie, he needs some work, but he was fine. Stop conditioning your dogs to your side. Give them freedom. Give them freedom from a young age. Teach them that freedom comes with boundaries and consequences if it's abused. It won't be abused as much as you think. These dogs don't just want to run away from you. They only want to run away from you when you keep them in 6-foot leash jail in perpetuity. That's my lesson. Alignment with your dog starts by letting them have freedom.